Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I see people are signing in from a variety of different locations, so really thanks for joining us and taking the time to be with us today. I'm on with Jeff Ackert, CEO of Cascade Copper, and Andrew Hillson, President of Blockware Technologies. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Very good. Thank you, Romeo. Nice to be here.
Excellent. Thanks.
Awesome. So today what we're going to be doing is really discussing collaboration between the companies for predictive modeling. And the way today's going to work is I'm going to throw it first to Jeff for a really quick intro for those who don't know Cascade Copper. And then Andrew Hillson will be giving a presentation on the work that the company does and we'll be partnering with Cascade for. And then I'll come on for just a few questions that I've got or will likely have. And then I'll throw it to you guys in the live audience for any questions that you might have today. So there's a chat button on the bottom right of your screen. Please feel free to use it any time during today's event. We'll try to get to as many questions as we can, likely all of them. If for whatever reason we can't, I will make sure that the question gets to Jeff and the Cascade team. So please do write it, even if we don't get to it. If it's right at the tail end as we're signing off, it's always better to write it in. Only other piece of housekeeping is that today's event is being recorded and will be available for replay early afternoon, probably Eastern time today. And it'll be available both in your inbox if you're here in the room, but also on Six's YouTube channel and on events.six.com. But enough out of me. I'm going to throw it to Jeff to get started on the protein of today's event.
Thanks, Romeo, and nice to be here. And the reason for having this webinar today was not only to follow up on our press release we put out late last week, but to introduce you to some innovation that we've come across and are developing. And I'd like to introduce you to Andrew Hillson, who's President and CEO of Blockware Technologies. Now, just a bit of background on this for the listeners and viewers that have seen us before in Cascade. Obviously, we're an explorer, we're a junior explorer. We've got projects across Canada, quite a number in British Columbia. But certainly when we do our work, we're collecting a lot of data. And the need to manage our data is very important. And really, exploration companies are data collectors, and it's what you do with the data at the end of the day that really makes a difference. So for us, collaborating with Andrew and his team made a difference. And I'll let Andrew basically tell you what his innovation is and what his platform does. And then towards the end afterwards, then I'll give you the why we're so excited about using it with Cascade. So without further ado, Andrew, please take over. I'll stop sharing my screen and you can pop up there whatever you like. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jeff. I'm just going to share my screen here and can everybody see that okay?
Yes, good.
You can, okay, awesome, good stuff. The most asked question these days. Yeah, so a little bit about Blockware Technologies. We are a privately owned R&D company based in Calgary, and we've had, this is all highly relevant, we've had R&D grants over the last few years, namely with IRAP, NRC IRAP, and also a Machine Learning Institute in Montreal. These grants are all based on the use of AI and machine learning with data, in-field data, and portable instrumentation. Our first grant was actually doing in-field soil analysis using portable near-infrared scanners. And it's been a very logical progression to move from soil into the mining exploration world. We've added some new instruments and obviously some new software. But our specialty really at Blockware is scientific instrumentation. I was the CTO of Nanalysis Scientific, which is a portable, a benchtop NMR manufacturer in Calgary. Blockware, we specialize in a good phrase calling it geospatial AI solutions. I've also had decades of experience delivering software as a service solutions. So online portals linked to devices, databases, you name it. An important part of why we're here is our partnerships, and of course the one with Cascade has been excellent. And I'm going to talk more about that. But we also have another Canadian partner, Geospectra Technologies, who's an instrument solution provider out of Quebec. They've been a key part of developing one of the pieces of software I'm going to show you. It's called Field Scan 1. But those are just teasers. I'm going to switch now into, and this is where Jeff and Cascade has come in very big for us for understanding this space and understanding the pain points of early stage mining exploration companies. So feel free to chime in here, Jeff, as well. But so in terms of pain points, what we have seen is when there's an active project, when there's a field crew operating, of course, traditionally you're getting very slow results. Namely, you're collecting samples in a field visit, and all of the analysis happens after the fact. This means you're getting zero feedback from the analysis of your samples, and this can make it expensive. If, of course, I've seen it in so many reports where in the end of a report, it'll say, oh, if we would have known, it would have been nice to get more samples by that outcrop or down by that creek bed. The goal here is to stop that pain point of being blind to a certain extent. Of course, when you've got experts in the field, you're getting feedback. But in terms of the data, we want to be able to have field crews make quick decisions in the field and see maybe areas of interest or areas of non-interest. So, and when I say feedback times with our system, you can actually within minutes get feedback on a ground data that you've just collected. Anyway, so that's a big one, is just the lack of feedback in the field, and obviously can save a lot of time and money. If you can avoid a field visit and make it highly optimal, that's excellent.
Yeah, maybe I can
on that one, Jeff.
Yeah, I can just pipe in quickly here, and that's one of the things that we really liked about this program was these days there's so many portable pieces of equipment that you can take into the field. I mean, 10 years ago it was science fiction, really, but now it's very commonplace. So for companies like us to adopt that ability to take analysis into the field with us, is that's only a part of this equation with Blockware, but I think more and more companies are doing that. So that's an important note to make, is that that equipment is readily available now, and it's relatively inexpensive in the big scheme of things. Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like most things, an entire solution is made up of very important pieces that come together. And like you said, we couldn't have done this 10 years ago. The sensitivity and precision of portable instrumentation a decade ago, it was just not there. And the improvements in portable XRF, NIR, libs, it's a very important piece of this solution. But you have to, they can be very powerful instruments, but you need to manage them properly with software. And I'll talk about that one in the next slide. Another big pain point was the actual site analysis and the report. After you've been to the field and after your data has been looked at. A big thing is for an early stage company, you're probably hiring an expensive consultant who has, some availability, maybe not along your timelines. Also, the compilation of the results into this report, it can be very time consuming, and there is good and bad. There's a lot of human opinions heavily involved in these reports. And this is where I was excited, just because it's always great to be able to inject a bunch of new technology, new cloud computing into industries where maybe they're lagging a little bit behind. And but of course, not ignoring that human opinion, still very important. Human intelligence still very sought after. Okay, so the next part of this is I'm just going to sort of a solution overview. And so moving from left to right here is what you see on the left, of course, are the portable instruments that are readily available now, relatively inexpensive. I wouldn't call them cheap, but anyway, yeah. So we have written in collaboration with Geospectra a piece of software called FieldScan 1. Now, what this does is it manages your portable instrumentation in the field. And a big part of this is that we are neutral in terms of, we're agnostic in terms of instruments. We don't manufacture any of these instruments, and we pick the best ones to integrate. A lot of times the software that people use in the field is provided by the manufacturer. And having worked for a manufacturer myself, I know that it's usually not the highest priority. You're always working on making those data sheets for your instrument better. Software can sometimes be a second thought. So that's why FieldScan 1, we're integrating multiple instruments. We're also embedding QA, QC protocols. This is a huge part of it. And I'll talk a little bit more about that one. But making sure you're collecting good data is it's so vital. It's the old garbage in, garbage out scenario. So we're also FieldScan 1 does have a local database, and it can export to cloud databases as well. So the chain of custody of the data is pretty important. I'm sure we've all experienced the spreadsheets floating around, emailed around, multiple versions. Do you have the right version? Oh no, that one was, anyway, you know that story. So managing the data is very, very important. Part of the QA, QC is making sure your instrument is calibrated properly, and you can manage your samples. Metadata, a big part of when you're gathering in the field as well. You can customize the metadata if you're collecting other data at the same time, and also just field observations. Very, very important to capture that. And part of that feedback loop I'm talking about is also this overlay of analytics while you're gathering data from your samples. Not just that includes looking at industry standards to make sure you're not getting contaminated or whatnot in the field, but also just to give you very quick feedback about samples that you're finding in the field. And a lot of this it's all profile driven, so you can set up your profiles and customize for what targets you're looking for and what settings you're on. So anyway, that one is FieldScan 1. As I said, in collaboration with Geospectra. Jeff, just before I move to the Subterro, any comments on field data collection?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to have this QA/QC right at the front end here. And I think what's happened in the past, everybody says, "Oh yeah, I got to get an XRF in the machine in the field," and they get it there. And then they start taking some samples, and they have no idea what they're doing. They're not sure if they're getting quality data. They don't even really know what the numbers mean, but at the end of the day. So having this interface, the FieldScan 1 interface, to collect the data, making sure that the data is in good shape, and then pushing it through to the rest of the process, I think is just brilliant for most people. Having that ability to have something verify the data right there on the site, I think is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Yeah, so that is FieldScan 1. So that's the software we're using in the field. Now, just moving on over. So once you've gathered your data, and you can either export it all at once, or while you're in the field, which when you want real-time feedback, that's what you would do. So the platform we've created for dealing with all this data and other site data is called Subterro. And the tagline, intelligent geospatial modeling. So Subterro itself, cloud-based software, it is bundled with FieldScan One. If you subscribe to Subterro, you get FieldScan One software. So as I was saying before, the whole goal here is using FieldScan One and then monitoring Subterro is going to help you learn very quickly what's going on in the field, minimizing field trips. And Subterro also allows you to manage multiple sites, projects, devices, users, everything. It's we're trying to make it, so you're not having to jump out of the software. We're trying to make it a bit of a one-stop shop. But the important thing here is what Subterro does is that what we do is we do AI predicted concentrations over your site. So what we're doing is we're creating a data set for your site, a combination of what you see on the exploration data you see on the right there. So all of this information for your site, aeromagnetic, IP data, legacy geochemistry, etc. We're pulling it into a data set and we're doing a multi-dimensional comparison on this data set, and we're finding positive correlations to the minerals or metals of interest. So once again, we're taking that exploration data, which is site-wide. We're creating kind of a fabric, a multi-dimensional fabric of that data, and then we're using your ground data from XRF or NIR, and we are predicting over your entire site what the concentrations of minerals and elements are, and then alteration zones as well. So the whole goal is basically heat maps that show you areas of interest that help you decide where you're going to direct your efforts, whether it's more ground collection or for, of course, a drilling plan. Before I let you chime in there, Jeff, just other things are, when you're predicting, you also need to know the uncertainties of what you're doing. Those are also produced in real time. And we do allow users to tune the system as well to help them understand exactly what I was saying, what areas they should be looking at and which areas are not that interesting.
Maybe I'll make a quick comment there, Andrew, while you're on this section. Like I said before, the exploration companies are data collectors, and what you do with it is really the important part. So if anybody in the audience is a geologist or worked in the industry, 10, 15 years ago, the way to do this was really you basically put all your data in different mylars or different layers of maps on your desktop, and you kind of look through them and you try to make that association between high mag and low IP chargeability or low resistivity, and you kind of put all that together on a map and you try to figure out where things are. So really it's basically doing the same thing that you would do over several weeks in the office. It's doing it automatically within Subterro. So it really cuts down on the amount of time. But as you say, Andrew, there's still that, you can still tweak it manually. You can add within Subterra, you can add sort of your own comments and some of your own priorities. And, there's still that human factor that's still there. So I think, again, it's a brilliant opportunity, especially when you've got a project with a lot of data, either historic data or as you're collecting new data. It's important to assimilate it and analyze it and then interpret it. So this is going to be a great help for any junior exploration company.
And just thanks, Jeff. And just some sort of typical a flow, a sequence of events here. It's kind of hard to see from my diagram, but Yeah, so just sort of a sample project would be gathering exploration data, uploading it into Subterro, and starting to see areas of interest, creating a collection plan for your field crew. Then the crew goes out with the portable instrumentation and field scan one. They start gathering data, which is uploaded into Subterro. Then the master model gets regenerated as that ground data comes in, and you can basically see in real time as you start seeing, more resolution of your model. You can literally see it, figuring out, where areas of interest are. So you can do. So then next would be, you have your field data. You may get some new IP data. You can then upload that, regenerate the model. If you get more aeromagnetics, whatever, you can just keep regenerating this, and it just gets smarter and smarter as you go along. So anyway, yeah, so that's sort of the ecosystem that we've got our software operating in. So what is going to just show you next is just live on Subterro. This is a screenshot, but I'm just gonna jump over to my browser in 1 second. So this is just an account that is for Cascade, showing their accounts. I'll just actually flip over. So this is the live site for Subterro. Here's Jeff's sites that we have in the system. We're just we've done the most work with his Rogers Creek data. So that's why I'm showing you this one here. So on the platform, you're able to look at the site. And right now I'm showing you I'm going to move this slider to adjust the heat map and show you. I'm interested in any location on the map that has over 428 ppm concentration of copper. I can tune this if I'm looking for areas with a lot more concentrations. It just instantly adjusts there. So you can see I've got 2 areas that are predicted to be in the 700 ppm areas for copper. And just to sort of go back to what I was saying before, so these are the red dots are actually ground data that was collected. So all these predictions, once again, it's all AI driven, using the exploration data and finding all these positive correlations to the ground data. And the ground data that's collected there. You see, it's interesting. It's like, yeah, these maybe were a bit of a waste of time, but it's good to know. And if I was to go back, these are areas that I'm circling here that would be interesting to get more elemental data. So, and there's other target elements that you're after. This is the platform where you can upload the data. You can look at the raw data, and all of your sites as well. I'll let Jeff. I'll let you chime in if you'd like to there.
Yeah, sure, Andrew. This is pretty innovative stuff for sure. And I think what we have to make sure people know is that the heat map, it's a predictive heat map. So it's taking all the data that we've had in the past and collected, including geophysics and geochemistry. And you can see in the background there, we've got a digital elevation model. So it's taking, it's looking at the elevations and the topography. So it's predicting areas that, for us, it says, okay, let's go and check this out. Let's go and send a crew out and look at these higher grade areas. Or even if you slide it back and you say, okay, let's look at anything over 200 or 300 ppm copper, it becomes quite a target area. So, you'd look at that on a daily basis, or you'd say, okay, this week we're going to tackle that north east area, and we're going to sort of go in and prospect it, or put a grid in and do some geochem sampling on it. So it's all real time, and it really makes, for us anyway, it would make sense to be able to manage this on a day-to-day basis and just really send the crews to where you think you're going to get the best results. And like you say, even if you take samples and there's not really nothing there, it's good to know that as well. So it tells you where things aren't, and then it refines your model. So I think it's a very, very useful tool to have in the field.
Yeah, it's a good point, Jeff. You're like, yeah, we're really excited to get more ground points just because it feels so good when the model refines itself. But you're right, there is no bad data when you're collecting it. It's always good to know more about your site. Yeah, the only bad data is bad quality data, and that's why, like you said, Jeff, the monitoring the quality of the output of the portable instrumentations, because they're dangerous just because they are, when they're working great, they're so powerful, there's the data is excellent, but they are not point and shoot devices, and a lot of people think that they are. It's just like, hey, just point at this rock and hit the trigger. It's like, no, I wish it was that easy, but we're not quite there yet. You have to babysit them. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so that's the quick demo on that. Romeo, sort of over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Andrew, for going through it. I do have a couple of questions just based on the presentation you just went through, and then we got a couple of questions from the chat, so we'll kind of tackle those in that order. The first one I wanted to ask, I mean, I know you've touched on it already, but I just as clear an answer as possible, how important would you say data quality is when you're operating those portable instruments in the field?
Yeah, it's huge. I've got a good example of that one. I mentioned we had done some soil work before, and there are when you're doing machine learning, you need high quality data. We started off with one of our R&D projects looking at soil libraries, global soil libraries, and there's a lot of excellent sounding libraries out there. One of them in particular, tens of thousands of samples taken globally on soil. Problem is, once you start working with the data, filtering it, making predictions, you start realizing that the error on each point, because there's different operators, not every operator knew how to operate it, the processes they used were different. And what turned out to be, hey, we've got tens of thousands of points from machine learning, turned into, wow, this is just garbage. We can't do anything with it. So that's what you don't want, is to have somebody spend a whole bunch of effort, field trips, gathering all this data, and then you have to tell them that, sorry, it is not good enough. And that's heartbreaking. So yeah, try to avoid the heartbreak.
That's a good rule of thumb for sure. One thing I want to ask, so right now you're predicting elements, minerals associated with copper exploration, which obviously great for Cascade. I'm curious, is the solution capable of predicting for other exploration targets, or is it really just copper for right now?
It is copper at the moment, but you could see from that drop down, we are also capable of predicting other elements, just because there's so much data, they come along for the ride, kind of thing. And yeah, absolutely. We have put some intelligence into the system for copper porphyries, the alteration zones around the porphyries, but we are very excited to target the system at different elements as well, particularly things like uranium. We're very excited to point it at differences there. So yeah.
Great. No, appreciate that. One thing is, all the data have to be entered in the back end, or can users update their own site data just through the portal?
Yeah. So through some of our early pilots, we were sort of, the little guys running around in the back, adding all the data, but we have just recently added, customers can now upload via a CSV. They can upload their own. If they get updates to their aeromagnetic or IP data, they can pull that in. Even if they have legacy data from ground collections, they can enter those as well. And it's the same thing. We have some scrubbing that we do.
Sure.
And it's always very important to make sure that you've got high quality stuff going in. So, but yeah, no, once again, we are excited to target other elements as well.
No, that's great.
Especially rare earths, I'll tell you.
Sure. Yeah, increasingly in the news. And I got one question I know not all vendors like when I ask, so feel free to do whatever you'd like with this question. But I know Subterra is subscription-based, but what are the pricing levels within those subscriptions?
Yeah. So what we're doing is with FieldScan 1, so the data collection software, there is a free version of Subterra we've created that pairs with it. The free version, it's not doing any predictions, but it is allowing you to do collection plans, things like that. And then you've got your free version, and then we've got a couple different levels. The premium version is the one we've been talking about with the real-time, regenerations of our models, so that you can literally, save time and money in the field. The middle version has some regenerations per month, but it still allows you to bring in all your exploration data and to use our prediction engine. So so we sort of have the three levels there, and you alluded to it. We're still actually working on our exact pricing, trying to figure out what is going to be the best value for customers. And Jeff's been invaluable on that one, but I can tell you definitively, the free version, yes, $0, and yes, we're still working. We really we don't want to price ourselves too high. We want to make it so that the juniors can highly justify spending a monthly fee on the software, and that they're super excited, and that they're making it's a great decision for them. But yeah, so partial answer on that one. Thanks.
Oh no, that's great, and I appreciate it very much. Jeff, I'll get you in for a couple of questions if you don't mind before I shift to the two questions in the chat. Really, why did Cascade get involved with developing this type of process?
Yeah, well, the mining industry and especially the exploration industry has been sort of given the moniker that they're sort of old world and they're low tech and that kind of thing. So having the opportunity to sort of tap into, the AI revolution was a no-brainer really for us. We wanted to show, the savvy investor market that, we're not just relying on old school stuff, that we were moving forward and taking advantage of, technology and new instrumentation, but also the AI revolution. And the AI thing, I mean, it's in some cases it says, oh, you're gonna replace your geologist, but no, it's going to augment the ability for the geologist to make the right decisions in the field. So all in all, it was kind of an easy decision to get involved with this, and we see the benefits.
Awesome. No, appreciate it. Andrew, a couple questions, both for you from the chat. So one, Tom asks, and I imagine this is somebody who's used ChatGPT and been frustrated with the results, is my guess. Tom, you can correct me if I'm wrong. He says, having used AI, what guarantees can you give us to the quality of the information provided in the field?
Hey, good question. So we asked ourselves that right from the beginning as well. We don't want to just sort of, make a crazy prediction. So we are always, with our predictions, we're always generating the uncertainty as well with that. So we're fully transparent, so that we don't want to make a prediction and then not tell you what our confidence in that is. So we use, it's a proprietary combination of numerous machine learning techniques. But yeah, they are always predicated on the certainty and uncertainty. So that's something we want to be, we're transparent on. So the confidences generated are, they're mathematical. So if we are, high confidence, we're very, very sure of that correlation. And how that translates into the field, we're going to just keep learning, and the system will get better and better over time. Hope that kind of answers the question.
No, for sure. And then one from Graham. He asks, what measures are there to protect sensitive data collected by Subterra?
Yeah, so good question as well. Subterra is itself hosted. The data is all hosted in the Microsoft Azure environment, which is one of the most secure cloud computing environments available, and of course, all of the movement of data around the system is encrypted with the latest highest standards of data security. So yeah, it's not sort of the Subterra predictions and underlying data. Yeah, like I said, they're in Fort Knox in with Microsoft there. So yes, it's a great question too on the data, the raw data that's collected on Field Scan 1 is so that itself is there are, whenever you're collecting data in the field, there's a certain amount of risk of losing a laptop or whatever.
Sure.
But still, all of the power and the predictions and the sort of proprietary data is all up securely in the cloud though.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, Andrew, thank you so much. I think this was a great presentation, certainly interesting. For the folks joining the room, thanks for taking the time out of your day. If you do think of any additional questions right after the event ends, as I often do, you can reach out and I'll connect you directly with Jeff or Andrew. Or, of course, you can reach out directly to either company through the contact information on their websites. But Andrew, Jeff, thank you so much. This was a great event.